Audio. And only I would keep this on there. Hey, it's Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling with Platinum versus NXT. This is from 6/8. Oh my gosh. June 8th, 2021. Off to a rocky start, but don't worry, I make up for it later on. How can I know this? Because time is not linear. Anyway, this is a go-home show for Takeover in Your House 2021, and it is a tale of two shows. The good news is a number of things were introduced and I think are so cool. I think that the way they used Poppy and had her intermingling with everybody as a way of bringing back Io Shirai, thought that was incredibly clever. Bad news. The main event, which is the five-way dance, the crowd was not going for. I think they correctly see it as Adam Cole matters, Karrion Kross matters, but nobody else matters. And that is a huge problem when you have a multi-person match where everybody's going for their own thing. It's one of those things where if Adam Cole wins, that's correct and proper in what should happen, but it's not a surprise. If anybody else wins, it feels unearned and it feels like a cheap surprise. So that's a tough spot to be in. NXT, which normally I have said does the best go-home shows outside of AEW, this one was decidedly okay. In any case, I do like that they've kept their commentary team together. I think those dividends are paying off nicely. I like Wade Barrett. I like Beth Phoenix. And I like Vic Joseph. And we are off to the races. They start off with a match, another great thing that they're continuing to do. Austin Theory against Lorcan. This is a perfect case, right? Lorcan wins this thing after a good match that perhaps went a little bit too long, but NXT thing is about the in-ring action, so they give that to you and then some. Lorcan wins. Lorcan stands tall. We see Gargano and Dunn being kept apart on the stage. Gargano checks on Theory. Lorcan stands with Dunn on the stage. Okay, it's an all right start. I would have honestly started with this thing because I think it's so fun and it's so kooky and nobody else is doing anything like it. We got LA Knight in his nearby mansion. He's singing the $1 Million theme song in the shower. This woman puts a robe on him. He's loving this life of being the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase's champion. Again, I cannot love this angle enough, but then later in the night, they make me love it even more. This idea that you bring back the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, who everybody and their mother knows who from watching wrestling back in the day, and now you're having him putting his stamp on this match at the pay-per-view. Even though I am wrestling out, and tonight I'm going to watch another wrestling show live, I think I'm actually going to watch the NXT pay-per-view tomorrow night. Hell, I have Peacock. Might as well take advantage of it. In any case, there's Ted DiBiase looking on at his guy. LA Knight is telling the women to join him in the hot tub. He rants about how he's going to beat Cameron Grimes. He hops into his Mercedes-Benz and drives off. Great stuff. Fun. All these things that NXT really needs, which is fun. And a build in a different way other than I'm going to beat you because I am the better wrestler. A little bit of personal feelings, a little bit of spice on it. I like it. We're back from the break, and we got freaking Michael Hayes delivering a promo for a Takeover in Your House event. Why is NXT, which is kind of the show for the trainees or the people who are being built up for the big show, why do they use these old names better than Raw and SmackDown, whose numbers skew older, who would benefit more from having people like the $1 Million Man and Michael P.S. Hayes involved in the show? You know why? Because Triple H and Shawn Michaels have something to do with NXT, and they don't have anything to do with the other shows. It's Bruce Pritchard who doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. But congratulations to NXT for really putting together some really cool stuff here. We get a replay of the NXT Tag Champions, MSK, retaining over Legado del Fantasma last week. And Legado del Fantasma is out there, and they're going to talk. And they're saying how they're going to make Bronson Reed, the North American champion, pay for what he did to Escobar and his partners last week. So they're putting the blame on somebody for their loss. I think it's very smart. Reed hits the ring as the music hits, and here come the NXT champions, tag champions, MSK. So we're going to have that big six-man. They sort of set it up. But as they're setting this match up, the music interrupts, and here comes Hit Row Records, my current favorite act that they're pushing. And they're all out of there. Escobar isn't happy with the interruption. Hit Row has words with MSK and Reed. The champs leave as Hit Row hits the corner to pose. I like it. We're setting up things for the future. Shocking. It's like it's promotion or something. Isaiah Swerve Scott takes on Killian Dane in a foregone conclusion match. That's another problem that you often have with go-home shows, and I don't bust their balls for it, but when you have a go-home show, you can't do things of too much consequence because you have guys that you need to protect for the pay-per-view. And I get that, so Isaiah Swerve Scott wins, as he should. It gives a chance for Hit Row to stand together and look awesome together on stage. We get a video of Poppy arriving to the building. That's nice. We're talking to the NXT Women's Tag Champions, Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. Candice is tired of the attention Poppy is getting. Ooh. Indy heard Dexter Lumis put on her headphones last week, and she thinks he might still love her. Ooh, intrigue, drama. Indy runs off to find Lumis. Candice is annoyed and says Indy and Lumis were never a thing to begin with, which isn't quite true, but that's what heels do, they lie. Candice walks off. We go back to commercial. Back from the break, we see Cameron Grimes in a pool at his mansion. He cuts a promo on facing LA Knight at Takeover and fighting for the $1 Million Man's legacy. He burns a $100 bill to light a cigar. I could really use that $100 bill, by the way. And he chokes on it, though. And we see Grimes enjoying company of a few ladies, getting a massage, giving a massage, all that kind of stuff. He says he's going to take Ted DiBiase's legacy to the moon, a reference to Dogecoin for the uninformed. Because that's supposedly how he's made his money on all these recent stock things. It's a ridiculous gimmick. I am not mad at it. He rides off in a Rolls Royce. Mercedes Martinez against Cameron Clay. I like what they did here. Razia Lee attacks her, beats down Mercedes Martinez, but Mercedes Martinez is a babyface and she's tough. So she goes, you know what, start this match anyway. And then she puts away Cameron Clay in record time. To basically make it so she can't take advantage of the fact that Mercedes Martinez is hurt. So Mercedes Martinez just puts her away fast. I thought that was very clever, made Mercedes Martinez looks badass, and then she's shouting out warnings to Lee. Great way to build up their thing. Mackenzie Mitchell's backstage with Breezango. And she asks them about the directive from Walter, the scariest fucking dude in wrestling. They crack jokes on Walter. It's great because we know what's going to happen. Walter's eventually going to show up and beat the living shit out of them. So they set all of that up, that they're not scared of Walter and fuck Walter and what's he going to do about it. And we'll find out later. Poor Breezango, because I'm thinking of how many chops they're going to have to take with that motherfucking catcher's mitt that Walter calls a hand. Yeesh. We see the $1 Million Man walking backstage with 2 armed security guards. Awesome. We go to commercial with that. And then they're back from the break. We got Poppy in the back with Triple H and William Regal. They're making a big deal about Poppy. Triple H thanks her for letting them use some of her music. I think that's very smart. He asks her when her new album drops, and in real time, she presses a button on her phone and drops the album. It's one of these cool things that are very modern and really awesome. And she really did that, by the way, because my kid responded right away, oh, Poppy released her new album. And it was like, yeah, she did it live on the air on the wrestling thing. And then my kid was like, what? So again, it's one of those things that gets people talking. It's very smart. Triple H says he can't believe she just pressed a button and released her album. He says technology is amazing. Dexter Lumis, creepy stalker guy, walks up and presents Poppy with a drawing. She takes it and hugs him. Then the girl who likes Dexter Lumis walks up and she's all hurt at the sight of Poppy and Lumis hugging, storms off crying. Triple H calls that awkward. You know what I call that? A motherfucking rom-com. They are pulling off a rom-com on a pro wrestling show. We'll see how it plays out. Why is NXT so much cooler than Raw and even SmackDown? Why are they doing these things right? But they are. They're doing them right. And anybody who wants to deny that just based on how many people are watching don't understand. Good is good, and NXT is good. We see Cameron Grimes and LA Knight arriving in the parking lot. They take shots at each other. Then $1 Million Man is in the ring. He asks Knight and Grimes to join him for this priceless announcement. So how can they make this match bigger? Because the $1 Million Man says they're going to have a ladder match. What are they fighting for? And he busts out the $1 Million title. And all of a sudden, it is the late 80s and early 90s again, and they're going to climb the ladder to determine who's going to be the new $1 Million champion. I love it. Grimes, and then first, LA Knight says how he's the right man to carry the $1 Million legacy. Grimes says he's going to take the $1 Million legacy straight to the moon. We get it. You're putting over the Dogecoin thing. Great, great, great. I love it. You're going to be embarrassed for me, and I understand that this is the match that put me over the top to wanting to watch the pay-per-view. Wasn't going to watch it because I think the build to the main event has been kind of ill-received, and I'm not really looking forward to it. But I want to see them fight for the $1 Million title, which is ridiculous, mostly because I want to see what crazy thing Ted DiBiase is going to do. And isn't that what this crap's all about? I love it. We go backstage where Kyle O'Reilly and Karrion Kross are brawling. I like that they caught them mid-brawl and security's trying to split them up. They are doing a lot of fighty fight stuff, but that's part of the problem as well. But the ways that they're going about setting up certain matches in original ways, it's really working for me. But the matches where the only solution they have is guys just swing at each other until they're pulled apart, they're kind of meh. We're back from the break. Ever Rise cuts a promo. They announced that they're going to be hosting the Takeover pre-show this Friday. The announcers hype the ladder match, as they should. We get the Grizzled Young Veterans against August Gray and Jiro in another foregone conclusion match. And sure enough, the Grizzled Young Veterans win. I get that they got to give them these wins. But then Ciampa and Thatcher show up. Grizzled Young Veterans cut a promo on them. They're going to do a Texas Tornado Rules match for next week's show. Again, NXT not only worries about their pay-per-view, they're promoting next week's show. And I love it. Thatcher says he's going to enjoy breaking the legs of Gibson and Drake next week. Guess what? I don't know. There's a little bit of Chekhov's gun about that. Is he going to really break both of their legs next week? I doubt it, but maybe he will. I guess I shouldn't say anything before we see the payoff next week. Candice LeRae is walking backstage. And then we come back from the break, we see how a returning Bobby Fish was attacked by Lorcan 2 weeks ago. Following his loss to Pete Dunne, we get the video of Fish working out, kicking and punching a bag. He sends a warning to Lorcan and says he has not forgotten about him. Good, setting things up for the future. Nicely done. Back to the ring, and here comes Candice LeRae by herself. She says she's tired of Poppy. The fans chant, "We want Poppy," to drown her out. That sounds like a success to me. LeRae isn't happy how Poppy hijacked the interview and stole Indy Hartwell's man and all this kind of stuff. LeRae calls Poppy out and gives her two options. Do it the easy way and apologize, or do it the hard way and receive a proper introduction to the parking lot. That's kind of hot, chicks calling each other out for fights in the parking lot. I've never seen that before, and I'm a fan of it. Lights go out. Here comes Poppy's music. Here comes Poppy. Poppy says she doesn't wrestle but knows someone who does, and they bring back Io Shirai in a bit of a shock. Thought it was a cool way to bring her back. Shirai rushes the ring, beats up LeRae, drops her on her face, hits a 619. Fans are cheering and going crazy. Shirai, who is again the genius of the skies, right? So does a springboard, jumps with the missile drop kick, kips up, all that stuff. Poppy celebrating with Shirai. Everybody's happy except, of course, LeRae, who's seething. Her tag partner is not there, but we have set up a thing for her to do to take our eye off the ball for the tag titles for a little while. It's smart booking. We got P.S. Hayes there backstage for another Slam Jam episode of Takeover. He hypes up the whole Takeover card, so we're promoting that properly. He talks about the pre-show, which is going to be hosted by radio podcast host Sam Roberts. Yay, I guess. Sports Illustrated's Justin Barrasso, I guess. And sports journalist Arash Markazi. Yay. No women in the bunch. So I won't be watching. Hey, I am who I am. Still to come, they promote Ember Moon versus Dakota Kai, which is a good match, but again, is what it is. Back from the break, we see what happened backstage during the break as Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai passed Io Shirai and Poppy. Gonzalez and Shirai exchanged looks. Good stuff. Nice way to set up a future match between the two of them without being overt or having another pull-apart brawl. Dakota Kai against Ember Moon. Very good match, but we know it's a foregone conclusion, except for Gonzalez running in and interfering with the end, so Ember Moon couldn't get the clean win, but a win by disqualification. I like it. I like it as long as they don't do that kind of thing too often. Once in a while, a DQ or a countout finish can be used for impressive effect, and here I think it definitely works. At the end of the day, they have a little brawly brawl, but Moon stands tall and yells back at the ring. I like it. Karrion Kross and Scarlett are backstage now. He sends a warning to his 4 challengers, TikTok, all that stuff. NXT manager William Regal is there with Karrion Kross in the ring. Scarlett is with Kross. This is our last segment. Kross is being all dominant and stuff. Kyle O'Reilly appears on the stage and taunts Kross about taking his title. Gargano comes from the crowd. He stands on the announce tables. He tries talking Kross into choking Kyle O'Reilly out. Kross calls Gargano a mark. Pete Dunne comes near the stage, tells Kross to shut up. Adam Cole appears on the big screen, taking shots at the others, calling Kross the dumbest of them all. It is just so hard to get this thing over because Adam Cole's promo weeks ago is so good. I mean, the line about, you get everything. They give you the entrance, they give you the music, they give you the girl to get you over. You know what I need to get over? They ring the bell. I mean, a better line has not been dropped in wrestling in recent memory. And so the crowd appropriately responds, which is Cole's a star, nobody else has a chance. And that's a problem when you've got 5 guys in a match. But it is what it is. And since I'm going to be watching the pay-per-view because of the $1 million title stuff, I'll see how it plays out. And I'll be sure to let you know. This has been Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling.